You have been the most fantastic experience of my life.
They say the best come but once in a lifetime, and never the like are seen again.
Bruce, yes! Unbelievable!
27 league seasons, 1,048 league matches, a win rate of 59.92%, 22 top 3 finishes, 16 seasons recording 80 points or more, 1,962 goals scored, 947 conceded. Those numbers belong to a single manager at a single club across a period that stretched from the mid-1980s to 2013.
There's a smile on the face of the United manager. Some joy at last for Alex Ferguson.
Before we discuss what they mean, it's worth holding them still for a moment, because the scale of sustained output they represent is not something English football had consistently sustained before. This video is not about mythology. It is not about memorable nights or iconic moments. It is about structure, consistency, and the mechanisms behind one of the most statistically dominant managerial tenures in top-flight football history.
That's the moment Old Trafford has been waiting for since 1967.
This is a data-driven breakdown of the Sir Alex Ferguson era at Manchester United. When Ferguson arrived at Old Trafford in November 1986, Manchester United had not won a First Division title in 19 years. By the time he delivered his first league championship in 1993, that gap had extended to 26 years. That drought is not simply a statistical footnote.
In English football, they have no equal. The man they all call the boss.
It reflects a structural reality. United had lost the institutional infrastructure required to compete consistently at the top of English football. The talent existed in pockets. The system to sustain results did not. The competitive landscape made the task harder, not easier.
Suddenly there are smiles everywhere you look around Old Trafford.
Time after time, year after year.
Oh, that is very, very special!
Liverpool were the dominant force of the preceding 2 decades, with 9 First Division titles between 1973 and 1990. Everton, Arsenal, and later Leeds United were coherent, well-managed organizations. English football at the time was not a competition you could drift into the top 3. It demanded genuine structural investment. Ferguson's first task was not tactical, it was institutional. That distinction matters. The rebuilding he undertook in his early years at Old Trafford can only be accurately assessed once you understand the depth of the problem he inherited. The early data is unambiguous. Ferguson's first full season, 1987-88, ended in 11th place. The following campaign, 13th. These are not the numbers of a club in transition. They are the numbers of a club with a structural problem. By 1989-90, United finished 13th again. Ferguson's position was, by several accounts, genuinely precarious. Points totals during this period, frequently below 55 in a 38-game season, place United firmly in the mid-table bracket by any modern analytical measure. The margin between consolidation and a more serious decline was narrower than the eventual outcome suggests. Then the trajectory shifted. 1990-91 brought a 6th-place finish. 1991-92 produced 2nd place with 78 points, the highest league total of Ferguson's tenure to that point, and a clear indicator that the organizational work being done behind the scenes was producing measurable output. The youth structure had been rebuilt. The scouting network professionalized. The transfer approach shifted from reactive to strategic. None of this was immediately visible in the league table, but it created the operational conditions for what followed. Phase 1 should be read not as a period of failure, but as a period of delayed return on structural investment. The data from 1993 onwards confirms that the foundations held. It also illustrates something important. From a data perspective, early-stage rebuilding and structural decline can appear statistically identical. Between 1992-93 and 2002-2003, Manchester United won 8 Premier League titles. In that same 11-season window, they finished outside the top 3 only twice. Their average points total in title-winning seasons during this period exceeded 82. These were not narrow victories, they were systemic ones.
It's a victory for Manchester United by a goal to nil. Alex Ferguson's team have done it.
The first title in 1993 came with 84 points, a record at the time for the newly formed Premier League. The following season, United posted 92. By the mid-1990s, they were recording goal differences above 40 in multiple campaigns. These are not marginal performances. They represent a team operating at a structural level above the competition. This was not momentum. It was systemic control. Two recruitment decisions during this phase are worth examining specifically for their statistical correlation with performance. Eric Cantona arrived from Leeds United in November 1992 for approximately £1.2 million. In the 3 full seasons following his arrival, United won 3 of 4 available titles. The transfer fee is largely irrelevant. What matters analytically is what Cantona's presence did to the operational coherence of the squad. Goals scored figures increased, consistency improved. The club's home record, already solid, became significantly more dominant across multiple seasons. He functioned as a structural catalyst, not simply an individual performer.
Spurs. Cantona!
Roy Keane's arrival in 1993 from Nottingham Forest coincided with the beginning of United's most sustained domestic run. In the 6 Premier League seasons from 1995 to 96 to 2000 to 2001, United won 5 titles. Keane's contribution to midfield defensive coverage and positional discipline is reflected in something more significant than individual performance data.
Balls to Keane. Oh! He's arrived.
United's consistent ability to control matches across an entire 38-game season. His presence correlated with improved points-per-game averages in multiple campaigns. Over a full season, that accumulates into title margins. By the early 2000s, United's goal difference had become one of the most reliable barometers of their seasonal dominance. In 1999 to 2000, they conceded just 45 league goals while scoring 97, a differential of plus 52 that placed them well clear of any competitor. The period between 1993 and 2003 represents, statistically, the structural core of Ferguson's domestic dominance. It is also the period in which the systems built during Phase 1 began producing compounding returns, at scale. The period from 2003 onwards presented a genuinely different challenge. Chelsea, following Roman Abramovich's acquisition, won back-to-back titles in 2005 and 2006. Arsenal's Invincibles campaign in 2003 to 2004 produced 90 points without a single defeat. The financial and competitive architecture of English football had shifted materially. Ferguson's response was adaptation without structural compromise. Between 2006 to 2007 and 2012 to 2013, United won 5 more league titles, bringing the overall total to 13 under his management. The 80-point threshold, which had become a reliable benchmark for genuine title contention, was met or exceeded in 9 of the 10 full seasons between 2003 to 2004 and 2012 to 2013. That is the statistic that rarely receives sufficient attention. Not the titles, the floor, the consistent avoidance of drop-off seasons, irrespective of squad transition or competitive disruption. That is what separates structural dominance from cyclical success. 2 players drive the attacking numbers in this phase more than any others. Cristiano Ronaldo joined the club in 2003 and departed in 2009. In the 4 seasons from 2005 to 2006 to 2008 to 2009, his league goal contributions escalated from 12 to 18. United's points total in that final season, 90, was the second highest of Ferguson's entire tenure.
Here he comes. Oh my word! Can you believe the genius of this man?
The correlation between Ronaldo's development curve and the team's peak output in this phase is not coincidental. It reflects how Ferguson integrated individual development into team-level performance planning. Wayne Rooney, present across the entirety of this third phase, provided a different but equally important function. Between 2006 and 2013, Rooney averaged over 12 league goals per season. Below Ronaldo's peak output, but sustained over a considerably longer period and with significantly broader creative and pressing responsibilities. Consistency over volume.
Headed away by Ramage. Rooney! This game called for a piece of magic.
That distinction matters across a 38-game season. The defensive record in this phase is equally significant. Between 2007 to 2008 and 2012 to 2013, United conceded fewer than 40 league goals in 3 separate seasons. The 2008 to 2009 campaign saw United concede just 24 league goals across 38 matches, a figure underpinned by Edwin van der Sar's Premier League clean sheet record that season. Structural defensive organization produces those numbers.
Wilshere did well, Nuamba! Oh, magnificent save by van der Sar!
Individual quality contributes. It does not explain them alone. The third phase demonstrates something the first 2 phases had already begun to establish. Ferguson's output was not tied to a particular era, a particular squad, or a particular style. He rebuilt. He adapted. The points totals did not collapse. The assessment of managerial greatness in football frequently defaults to peak performance, a treble, a dominant cycle, an iconic team. Consistency metrics offer a more structurally honest basis for evaluation. 22 top 3 finishes in 27 seasons. That is an 81.5% rate of top 3 placement across nearly 3 decades of competition. Over the same period, the Premier League cycled through managers at its biggest clubs at an accelerating rate. Ferguson's consistency in positioning United near the summit of the division is without direct comparable precedent in English football management. 16 seasons with 80 or more points from a possible 27. That is 59.3% of seasons meeting a threshold historically associated with genuine title contention. In practical terms, it means United were not merely finishing in the top 3. They were finishing there at points totals that would have won the title in the majority of seasons. The floor was set high, and it held. The overall league win rate of 59.92% across 1,048 matches is the headline figure, but context is required. Across those matches, United faced significant variance in opposition quality, fixture congestion, and competitive environment. Sustaining a near 60% win rate across that volume is not an outcome of any single squad or any single period. It is a function of institutional continuity. 1,962 goals scored against 947 conceded across 1,048 league matches. A combined goal difference of plus 1,015. Across more than 1,000 league fixtures, United outscored opponents by over 1,000 goals. What that figure reflects operationally is not attacking dominance offset by defensive fragility. It is consistent quality at both ends of the pitch, sustained across multiple squad generations. That is not a peak, that is a system. Manchester United have not won a Premier League title since Ferguson's retirement in May 2013. In the 12 seasons that followed, the club employed 7 permanent managers. Top 3 finishes became irregular. Points totals dropped below 70 in multiple campaigns. Dominant eras in football typically end when the central organizing figure departs. That pattern is well established. What is analytically notable about the post-Ferguson period is the pace and extent of the regression, and what it reveals about the source of the original performance. The talent available to United's post-Ferguson managers was, in many measurable respects, comparable to or greater than what Ferguson operated with across parts of his tenure. The budget was larger. The squad depth was not obviously inferior. What changed was not the quality of the players alone. It was the organizational coherence that had been constructed over 27 years and which could not be transferred through a managerial appointment. The post-2013 data does not diminish what preceded it. It clarifies it. The results were being produced by institutional systems, not simply by individual quality and not simply by circumstance. The Ferguson era is frequently assessed through the lens of individual decisions, the signings, the tactical shifts, the moments that define the highlights reel. That framing is understandable. It is also incomplete. What the data shows, across 27 seasons and 1,048 league matches, is structural dominance. The capacity not only to win titles, but to return to contention after rebuilding cycles, to hold a performance floor during transition, to adapt to materially different competitive environments without allowing the points totals to collapse. 81.5% top 3 placement, a 59.92% win rate, 16 seasons above 80 points, a goal difference of plus 1,015 across more than 1,000 league fixtures. These are not the statistics of a team that peaked and subsided. They are the statistics of an organization that was, for nearly 3 decades, engineered to finish near the top of English football on a consistent, repeatable basis. Not mythology, not a peak. Structural dominance, sustained across time and verified by the data.